Huzzah! Sorry, just got a little excited there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm very excited for today's episode where we'll talk about the next production getting put on right here in Breckenridge Hall. I've got a very special guest who will discuss the upcoming play, She Kills Monsters, a play by Qui Nguyen that is being performed by members of the theater department right here at Morehead State. It's based on Dungeons & Dragons, and my guest today is a D&D player themselves, so we'll discuss the play and all the work that goes into putting it on, as well as some of our favorite things about D&D. I don't want to reveal too much before you all get to the interview, so stick around and hear more about it from them. And welcome back. Today we are joined by Bree. Bree, welcome to the show.
Hello.
So tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do at Morehead State?
So my name's Bree Yates. I'm a senior, so I'm going to be graduating soon, but I'm currently a creative writing major, and then I have a minor in theater and a double minor in gender studies, but it feels like I'm a theater major most of the time.
Well, first of all, congratulations on graduating. It's
Thank
a big
you.
deal. And then the theater aspect of that, there's a show coming up, yeah?
Yes,
What's
She
the
Kills
show?
Monsters,
Okay.
opening this Thursday.
Okay.
So it's opening tomorrow, April 9th, and then it's showing 9th through the 12th, and then again the next weekend, which is the 16th through the 19th, I believe.
What are the show times?
The show times are 7:30 on Thursday through Saturday, and it's free for MSU students. House opens at 7. I believe it's 15 if you're not an MSU student, but it's free for all students. And then the matinee times are 2 p.m. on Sundays.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the show. What's it about?
So this show is by Qui Nguyen, and he is the sort of creator of this theater company that he likes to call Geek Theater Company. And so he has a bunch of different shows. I student directed 15 minutes of one a couple years ago that was called Beginner's Guide to Deicide. So they're all very kind of campy, very fun, a lot of bringing kind of colloquialism and pulp to the stage. So this show is about Dungeons and Dragons, which is
Nice.
really fun because there's still a really big absence of fantasy genre on stage, so that was one of the big challenges with bringing this to life. I am an actor in the show, but I'm also the puppet designer, so I've
Nice.
helped to create the monsters. So there are metaphorical monsters that she tackles as well, but she does kill literal monsters. So if you come to the show, you will not be disappointed that there are going to be actual monsters that are killed.
Very nice. So I had Meredith on. She was one of my first guests. She directed Pride and Prejudice, but this one I understand is not student directed.
No, it is not. It's directed by Becky Earhart, who's a professor in the department.
Awesome. So what is there like a difference between having a student director versus a professor directing?
The student directors usually have less of a budget. Sometimes they have less time as well. I know Meredith was really constrained because there was so much snow and there were conferences and everything. But this process was over the course of 2 months, and
Oh, wow.
I think Meredith only really had 1. But when it came down to it, we really only had like 1 month of rehearsal time just because of how everything played out with the snow and the conferences and everything. But the student-directed performances are usually mentored by one of the professors, so they come in and check and just make sure everything's going well because that is still a student in training, whereas this is a professional. So it's really just that it's a professor directing instead, but there is a little bit more budget, a little bit more time.
And how big of a cast do you have for this show?
This show is really big. I think we're at 15 people. We're between 13 to 16. I don't remember. We had a couple people drop, things had to be shifted around, but it's a fairly big cast.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we are going to cut to a commercial very quickly, but we will be right back with Bree in just a second, so don't go anywhere. Don't leave.
I can appreciate, like, you know, still lifes made with graphite or charcoal, but they'll never quite vibrate my brain the way something colorful and detailed does. And so I try to do that with my own work. Now, more so than ever, I try to say something about my opinion on the state of the world and politics, and, you know, what artist doesn't do that? But in realizing in in early high school that I was lesbian, and then later on gender fluid, I really wanted to make more art that connects to that, as well as childhood. You know, I'm the sort of artist that just puts everything in a pot, mixes it together. I don't try to make one thing about one thing specifically only. I try to go all over the place, but mostly, my personal opinions, and to make myself really, like, visually connect to a piece of art, I try to do something like with colors, with, I don't know, sparkles, something that really gets my brain just attached to the piece so that I see it through to the end. Definitely my entire life, I can remember, you know, even in preschool and kindergarten, just drawing, couldn't stop, sort of thing. But a big thing of escapism, because I had a pretty lonely childhood. You know, not a lot of people in my neighborhood, or they were just too busy, so may as well make my own fun. And in high school, I had this really fantastic art teacher, Mr. Spencer. He was very, very kind, very much like an uncle to everybody. Everybody knew him. They would come to his class to hang out, and he was my guy, and he really pushed me to do it. He's like, yeah, you can do it if you really want, you know. And, you know, I took the leap, and I'm here. Right now I'm working on probably second part of my BFA series. It is 4 pieces total with 1 freestanding. Most of them are in these big frames, sort of like shadow boxes, and they are these humanoid figures that are meant to depict my experience as an artist. Basically, I struggle a lot with self-confidence as an artist and inspiration, and, you know, I know every single artist who struggles with that, and I really wanted to make a series that speaks to that and the cyclical nature of it. How you can never quite be fully confident all the time, fully grow past any mistakes. You know, you're gonna be in a rut of self-doubt, which is the piece I'm working on right now, all about self-doubt. And then you're gonna be inspired again, and you're gonna lose it again, and you're gonna be frustrated. And yeah, I really wanted to make a series that, you know, everybody hopefully gets once I finish it. And I've said this before, I get this itch, like, in my skin, in my brain, to make something. I have to keep making something, or else I'm just gonna get so restless and anxious. And it's fun, and it's the human urge to create that is so underrated these days.
Space Trek provides a fully immersive, aerospace, career-connected experience that empowers young women to make decisions about their futures. We've expanded both Space Trek and Space Prep to West Virginia and throughout Kentucky. By doing this work, we are inspiring the next generation of students to pursue aerospace degrees and careers. That's how Space Trek builds the aerospace workforce in Appalachia.
And welcome back. We are back with Bree. Bree, I understand that you are a D&D player yourself.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so what's your go-to class race combo for D&D?
Usually I would play like a paladin class. I've been meaning to play barbarian, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. And then I'm a dragonborn all the way, which my character is a human, unfortunately, but she is a paladin, and that's a lot of fun for me. I'm usually a DM as well.
Okay, nice. So do you like being like a storyteller? Is that why you like DMing?
Yeah, storytelling is definitely my big priority as an artist. So I am an actor in this show, but I also help design the puppets because I just couldn't turn that opportunity away. So there's a 5-headed dragon in the show, Tiamat, and I've designed all the dragon heads. I don't want to say too much, but there's also a lot of different monsters that are very characteristic of D&D that I helped to create, so those are going to be a lot of fun.
So is there a dragonborn in the in the play at all?
No, unfortunately. There are kobolds,
hard to do. Okay, interesting. So, I mean, if you can talk about it, how do you pull that off?
A lot of it is costuming. I worked with the costume designer Amy Compton. They did a lot of the more humanoid characters, so like the bugbears and the kobolds are all costumes, and then there's 2 demon characters, so they have, you know, wings and horns kind of thing. But then the bigger monsters, like there's a beholder and a mimic, a Tarask, those were puppets.
Wow, okay. Those are some ambitious creatures
They're
to design,
not like
honestly.
Broadway Lion King level
that's okay.
puppets, but my character's a 16-year-old DM, so I've been telling myself that they don't need to look Broadway, they need to look like a 16-year-old made them, and I think I've pulled that off,
Very
at
nice.
least.
Is there anything else about the show that you want the audience to know?
It's also a very queer story, and that's a really central theme to the story, and that speaks to me a lot. This is the first time that, as a queer person, I've gotten to play a queer character, especially a lesbian character, so that's really great. Trigger warning, there's some depictions of homophobic bullying, but overall, it's a very queer central and queer positive show.
Awesome. That's all we've got for the interview portion of today, but we will be right back, so don't go anywhere. Don't leave.
Here at STAR, we're saving the animals of Rowan County. STAR is a nonprofit organization that helps canines find their forever homes. The nonprofit also assists their animals in seeking needed medical care, which can be a costly endeavor. Follow this link to the STAR website page if you would like to donate. STAR is also seeking volunteers to assist with the animal care at the shelter and to recruit foster parents. Contact Jan Dachi, found on STAR's Facebook page, if you want to bring joy into one of these furry friends' lives.
That is unfortunately all we've got for the show today. Bree, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Eagles, y'all have a great night, and thank you so much for watching.
Go see She Kills Monsters.